Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to another edition of Anime in UK. We have Rebecca here with us again.
Yep.
Say hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Tim.
It's lovely to see you. So, of course, I'm here, Timothy Land and Rebecca Harrison, for yet another edition of Anime in the UK. Everybody's 35th favourite anime-related UK podcast. And today we actually are here to talk about a sad matter. We're here today to talk about the sad and sudden passing of Akira Toriyama has sadly passed away, and I mean, it was quite shocking. Literally, Rebecca, I was the one who told Rebecca because this weekend.
Yeah, you actually woke me up to that news on Friday.
Yeah, Rebecca woke to that news. I was not sleeping well because someone was snoring, and I decided to look at the phone, and I was like, it was on the BBC website. That was the thing. That's how big this news is. So
yeah, Mira on the website when Mira died. Berserk author died. He was on the BBC website.
Yeah, that's the only other manga author I ever really remember them covering.
Did they cover Yu-Gi-Oh as well?
Oh, both of them. I remember now. Yeah, both of them. The Yu-Gi-Oh one also. That also did get covered because that actually had come over. So yeah, real sad news. So we thought today, good way. I wanted to see how his work came out here in the United Kingdom. So this is more a United Kingdom look. This is not the America look. I'm sure there are people doing that with the American version of Toonami. Even though, spoiler, the UK version of Toonami is heavily involved. But there is actually some interesting thing. I actually did some research today, Rebecca. I know, for the first time ever.
You do research stuff anyway.
I know. I actually was able to track Dragon Ball up to the very first anime event that ever happened in this country, which was Anime Day 91. That happened, I think 33 years ago last weekend. So
yeah.
We just had Minamicon. It wasn't Minamicon. It happened to have fallen on the same weekend of Minamicon. It's like they knew the future. So this is a very small event. This was held in Sheffield, and most of the events that went on were actually video rooms. And one of the first things that was shown was actually Dragon Ball the movie. The fun fact about this, it was actually shown in French, because the French have had Dragon Ball for a while at that point and were really into it. And of course, that was the only copy they could get their hands on. So you're probably wondering, well, how did the attendees enjoy it? Well, either A, had to know French to enjoy it, or B, there was a guide, like the con guide, had an explanation of what was going on in Dragon Ball the movie. I am presuming it was the first Dragon Ball movie that came out in the 80s. Probably one of the so whether it was a later one, they just done a bad, they just didn't know which one it was. So I just thought I'd keep that in there, that literally Dragon Ball technically had kind of its first unofficial kind of showing in French at an anime convention in the United Kingdom in March of 1991. So that's quite interesting. So do you know when the next time Dragon Ball sort of showed up actually properly in the UK?
Was that on Cartoon Network?
Mm-hmm. It was in March 2000. Do you want to hear a really sad and cruel story?
Well, we're going to have plenty of sad and cruel stories this podcast.
I know. When I was a kid, we had Cartoon Network, and I had cable. I was a lucky kid. We moved house.
I had cable as well.
When we moved house, my parents were like, kids, we can no longer afford cable. So it meant I lost cable about 5 months before Dragon Ball Z started showing in the UK. And I remember seeing trailers for this show and being like, oh man, that looks epic. And it was to the point where I remember going on holiday to a Travelodge and begging my parents to let me watch an episode of Dragon Ball Z, which was halfway through the what arc is it? The second arc, the freezer arc where I think so I had no idea what was going on. It was like a total terrible episode to start on with, but I remember being like, wow, this show looks like insane. So my understanding is Dragon Ball had actually come out in lots of other regions before that, and my understanding of why it took Cartoon Network so long to show it was before Cartoon Network had one channel for Europe, and then everything was one. So, but I believe in around '99 they sort of changed that, so each, like, France got their own one, UK, so it meant they could show more shows that maybe they couldn't have shown before because they couldn't have got the rights to. They also got the whole European rights. So that's how I believe they started showing Dragon Ball at that point. So, like, I think Dragon Ball Z started '89. And yeah, so it took them 11 years to start showing Dragon Ball in this country.
One, anime wasn't too popular in those days. Two,
Yeah.
dubbing took a lot longer.
Yeah.
Three, we didn't have the internet to pass things through. You got to wait about a few months to get your episodes.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And and Japan still.
Yeah.
And you know what Japan's like at times when at those times getting things over.
Yeah. One of the things with the Dragon Ball dub, I noticed when it happened in America, it got cancelled, I think, after about 100 or so episodes. And they weren't going to pick it back up, but it just got more and more popular in repeats. And that's when Funimation came in and were like, we're taking over, taking the dub over at this point. And of course, have you ever heard the stories of all the dubs of Dragon Ball that aired in the UK?
They're the ones you told me lots of times.
So the UK has quite an interesting sort of like history of dubs with Dragon Ball. So we started off, I think, with the first whatever 100 or so episodes were only dubbed by one company. Then we jumped over to the Funimation dub, I think, for about 20 episodes and then for some reason in the UK, they decided, you know what? We've had 2 dubs already. Let's go for the hat trick. And they decided to go and get the Canadian English dub that was solely produced so that in Canada they have a really strict rule about Canadian produced programming.
Oh, of course, it's Canada.
Yeah. And what happened was they went and got that dub because it was cheaper. And they showed that for the rest of its run. And you're like, okay, 3 dubs, that was mad. Then when it came to the movies, we had a 4th dub that was made in Holland using the French script, which was, from my understanding, really off from the show. To my understanding that when Dragon Ball Kai came out in France, this was the French's way of going, we're going to make a dub of Dragon Ball that actually follows the scripts. A lot of the names are incorrect. It's one of them things. It was really different. And so this had like another voice cast, which are terrible. And Rebecca's turned into YouTube shorts.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm just trying
to look around. So
yeah.
Dragon Ball now had a 4th dub. So if you watch the movies, there was a 4th dub. And of course they had the notorious, that's the big green dub. So I guess in some ways Dragon Ball was doomed, but in other ways it showed you like how awesome Dragon Ball is, that it could have gone through 4 dubs over here and everybody still loved it. I personally think outside of Pokemon, it was probably the most important anime to air on UK TV.
Most probably. No, UK is that's more like.
Yeah.
You had stuff like Digimon.
Yeah. See, the thing with Digimon, I always felt it was shown to complement Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it really was never... ITV had a horrible airing schedule of it, from what I remember. I think they only showed it once. I remember them dumping the 02, end of 02, somewhere really like, or more like really early in the morning, when they literally only had about like 5 episodes to show. I remember them literally before they finished 02, they ordered something in the same time slot there was airing 02. They just went, you know what, we're like 6 episodes away from 02. Let's just start airing Tamers. It aired 3 episodes of Tamers and never aired Digimon outside of those early morning viewings of 02, which was weird considering how Digimon is very plot focused, more plot focused than Pokemon. Of course, we had Monster Ranch on BBC, but I think that was purely the Poke rival. And unfortunately, they aired it a lot of the times the same time ITV was showing Pokemon, which, from what I've seen of it, it looked a good show, but it was kind of like versus Pokemon people. It's kind of like, if they may have shown it a different time, I feel like, and I think they did towards the end, they did start airing it in like the afternoon slots, where Pokemon wasn't airing as much. It was kind of one of them, they made it directly compete against, like, for example, it was like Live and Kicking centerpiece, while Pokemon was SMTV Live's centerpiece. So it was like the 2 shows were like this very similar shows airing at the same time. Probably the 2 shows airing at the same time. So yeah, it kind of did suck for that. They did have the Card Captor dub, which people like, but I think that was another one they just dumped all like the last couple of episodes somewhere. Yu-Gi-Oh did well. Yu-Gi-Oh did well. So I can see people arguing with me saying, and Blade.
Yeah, but Pokemon was Sky 1.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh then also went over to Nickelodeon at one point, I think for the rest of its run. Because Sky One stopped showing kids shows, I think around 2003, I want to say. It may have been a bit later. Damn, remember that when Sky One was actually a really good channel. I'm about to say remember when Sky One was a channel, because it's not a channel anymore. Doesn't exist. It's gone. It's like Sky something like else now.
Something so or whatever. I'm not on Central.
Yeah.
I don't TV.
Yeah, I haven't watched TV for a while. So Dragon Ball wouldn't just inspire Cartoon Network. It inspired a spin-off channel called CX. CNX. Why did I say C? I'm thinking of the damn bloody store. It's like they got there. So CNX was a more adult-focused channel that actually showed a load of Adult Swim and adult-themed anime. So I believe this is where the first time we saw Cowboy Bebop.
Gundam Jack, even though that's not an anime.
Yeah.
Tension.
Yeah,
Gundam Wing.
So it opened the door for Cartoon Network UK to import a load of anime. Why before, I don't think back in the European days they showed anything. I think they just showed loads of episodes of that Mr. T cartoon. I don't know why I have memories. Oh, and Top Cat.
You kept playing Mr. T clips.
No, I just kept playing Mr. T clips because they're truly inspirational messages.
Never not.
They're just like him, like in a room. It's like, children, I want you to get your parents and watch this episode. And I'm like, it's a serious matter.
That's what it can't kill there.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, pity the fool who doesn't get their parents to. Today's episode's about going on a plane. You shouldn't go on a plane, children. I made a whole cartoon about not going on a plane. Yeah. But he, there was also a load of movies on the channel. This is the cool thing. I think I only started getting cable or Sky just as this channel was ending. And I vaguely remember turning on to an episode of Tenchi Muro and being like, this show looks good. The only problem with the Cartoon Network of Tenchi Muro, it was an extremely censored version where everybody wears swimsuits in the onset. And you could tell that they had been added in post-production. Luckily, we never got the TV edit of Evangelion where they put Misato in a swimsuit in the bath. Only only Cartoon Network USA showed that one. We never got Evangelion. That showed on Sci-Fi, and they showed it uncut. Even
Yeah, that showed.
yeah, we never got. So we're getting loads more show. I think they showed Outlaw Star as well.
Yeah.
So all was going well, but fortunately the channel wasn't allowed to be in the kids section as they showed adults content, and there's a weird rule which I can kind of understand because there have been some problems in America with this, where if you get a license for a children channel in this country, you cannot show any grown-up programming even after the watershed. You have to keep the children programming all day, even like overnight.
So children's channel, for example, for example, they can't Has Been Hotel.
No, so they couldn't be like, hey, we got a late night block where we show Has Been Hotel and Amazing Digital Circus, because it would go against their license agreement. So that's why CNX was allowed to, because it wasn't in the I think it was in the movie section, so they could show whatever they wanted. So this is actually probably has hampered or caused anime big problems in this country, because I feel at least Cartoon Network would have probably had a version of Adult Swim on their channels, and this means no, they can't go to Adult Swim. They can't start showing Family Guy if they wanted to, because they would just get in a load of trouble. So this kind of caused a lot of trouble. But they decided we're going to need to go to the children's section if this channel's to be any success. So they rebranded it to Toonami, which had already been running in America. And then they showed so much Dragon Ball in Toonami. This is when I started remember watching it. The only problem is they would never show it in any order. You just put it on and it would almost be like they showed one episode from one arc, one episode from another arc. And this would continue all the way until they showed One Piece. I legit remember watching One Piece, one episode being from Chopper's Island, then going all the way back to Sanji Island. And then I was like, what the hell's going on in this plot? It's like, 1 second this Chopper guy's here. The next second, they've not even met Sanji yet. It's like, the plot was just always all over the place. So...
It's weird, because in regular Cartoon Network,
yeah,
they have those in production running order.
I believe sometimes they do go weird. I have remember watching stuff, and sometimes there's different orders. There's a production order, there's an actual order it was meant to be in, but it gets slightly shifted out of place. I don't know. Someone just pressed random on the thing, like, kids are getting. Now Toonami was really the Dragon Ball channel. They showed Dragon Ball, they got Ultimate Muscle as well.
I don't care about that as much.
Yeah, it was kind of that was the show they tried to wean everyone onto when they knew their Dragon Ball material was running out. So of course they showed the entirety of Dragon Ball Z.
GT.
GT. And then they went back and they actually got the rights to the original Dragon Ball, which I was kind of great, because this show makes no sense. I can finally sit down and watch it. So this is probably my biggest memory of watching Dragon Ball on UK TV, was actually going back and watching the OG Dragon Ball. I remember having a really good time watching this, because it was...
I know that...
Mm-hmm.
I know American comic shops have imported the Dragon Ball manga from America. The plots for... Because that was the style of the time. Because remember, this is Tokyo Pop's authentic manga.
Oh God, Tokyo Pop. They're back, you know.
I know they're back.
They've come back somehow. It's weird. It's like, do we want them back? I just heard a load of the dodgy things. It's like, do we want them back?
Yeah. Well, that could be... But that's probably another episode.
Yeah, we should do a Tokyo Pop episode. We've got to do the Tokyo Pop Recon edition. And so, I do remember going into a library and there being a Dragon Ball manga, and me wondering why the hell it was the wrong way round. And I legit thought it was a printing issue.
No. I think a lot of the biz manga at the time was a lot of manga at the time was our way of reading it.
Yeah.
But as time went, because of Tokyo Pop influence, like they're our way, and it's like, and it caught on.
Yeah. Because I remember, I think I had the Star Wars manga, and that flipped it, and there was a bit at the start that explained to you that everything had been flipped, just so that you could read it, because you're dumb, and young Tim was dumb, and that's how he had to read the manga. I do vaguely remember, you know, the little one chapter comic books.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they came out over here. I vaguely remember seeing them in like the import comic book store that had that Pokemon manga that was super dodgy in Japan, but they just took all the super dodgy stuff out of it. Like they drew
Etsy manga was also really popular at the time as well.
Yeah. And it was like, that's so cool that they like released in manga. So as I said, they got through, I think, Dragon Ball's complete run. So that was like Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, So yeah, that's the order they should do. Z, GT, then the original. Which is weird because that was how it was released on DVD, but we're not quite to the DVD release yet. So that's how it was released on television. And then I think Toonami lost the rights to it around 2005. And that's when they had to rely on that god-awful One Piece dub that nobody likes. And then that's when... I think they got the rights to Pokemon. I think they actually finally got the rights to Pokemon. So I think it went from the Dragon Ball channel to the Pokemon channel. But it being like 2007, it wasn't quite enough to carry the channel.
No one cared about Pokemon in 2007.
Yeah. And then we had the really bad, ill-fated... norming or the sort of de-animizing of Toonami, where they essentially attempted to turn it into an entertainment channel, and they got the rights to the American sitcoms Hey Dude and Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Well, it turned out Parker Lewis lost pretty hard. Like, extremely hard, because within 2 weeks of showing up, he was dragged off the television. He was dragged off of Toonami's. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone was nostalgic for that show at the time. I don't think anyone in this country was ever nostalgic for Parker Lewis Can't Lose. I don't know why I have this generally grudge against the show Parker Lewis. I will forever blame it for ruining anime on United Kingdom TV. It's that bit where I think there's a Family Guy bit where Peter just goes through all the stuff like Parker Lewis can do. He's like going, Parker Lewis can't lose. What's he up against Batman? See, that's the thing. Parker Lewis can't lose, not even against Batman. I'm just sitting there going, you fucking destroyed anime in this country. You fucking. I hate Parker Lewis. I hate Parker Lewis so much. He fucking lose. He's a fucking loser. Don't give him credit, Peter Griffin. Stop giving that man credit. He's a fucking loser. It's like, but why don't you have any grudge against the other show, Hey Dude? I don't know. It's just that Parker Lewis Can't Lose just sounds way too arrogant. It just sounds like an arrogant name to the thing to call your show.
That was the start of the time.
It's like this show is just like, oh, we're probably not at my biggest breakdown in this episode. I got another story about... So, I think we're going to put Dragon Ball on pause for a while because Dragon Ball doesn't have overly a lot of interesting stuff for the next couple of years. It was, as Cartoon Network had lost the rights, there was a long period where nobody knew who had the rights to Dragon Ball. And from a quote at the time, one of the companies flat out said, we'd love Dragon Ball, but apparently some French company is sitting on the UK rights. So...
complex thing.
Yeah. So we're going to scoot back a little bit and we're going to talk about Dragon Quest, which was, of course, another property Toriyama worked on. Probably, I could argue some way, at least in Japan, probably could be his most famous work because Dragon Quest is the biggest thing in Japan Like, you go to Akihabara, it's everywhere. You go to anywhere in Japan, you'll see slimes everywhere. It's more popular than Final Fantasy, I'm telling you that now. And Final Fantasy is damn popular in Japan. It's to the point where there is an alleged Dragon Quest lore, but it's not an actual lore. Square Enix put it on themselves, where if you release a Dragon Quest game, you must release it at a weekend. Because apparently anytime they release a Dragon Quest game in Japan, there'll be like just record people going off work and going off school. So they were like, yeah, if we're going to release a new game, we're doing it at the weekend so that everybody has the day off, or should have the day off. They did release Dragon Quest games in America, but over here in the UK, they were sadly all skipped over. The only one that ever came out was Dragon Quest Monsters for the Game Boy, and that was because it was the Pokemon craze at the time. It was the craze of the time, and they just wanted any franchise that half looked like Pokemon. So Dragon Quest Monsters ended up coming out over here before any of the mainline Dragon Quest games. Do you know what Dragon Quest game was the first to come out over here in the UK?
2007.
I'm not sure. Actually, I didn't check the actual release. But you know which one it was?
One on the DS? Was that Dragon Quest 9?
No. You're near. One number away.
10?
Dragon Quest 8 came out over here. I think around 2005. Yeah, 2005. Because I remember seeing it at a computer show, like the American version around that time. And being like, oh, I should buy this, and then realising I wouldn't be able to play it because it's the American version. So when it was released here in the UK, it was actually just titled Dragon Quest. It was the first Dragon Quest. Me and my friend Michael played a load of it. When we played it was a fun game. There's actually a way to go Super Saiyan in it. But yeah, I do have a copy somewhere. And it says it's just called Dragon Quest. So then we come to the Nintendo DS, and there were remakes of all the Dragon Quest games, and luckily that is when we received all the Dragon Quest games over here. Sadly, really limited print runs, so if you do come across of any of these early Dragon Quest printings, they are really hard to find. Also, another game for the DS that I'm gutted I never picked up because I do really want to play this game is also akira worked on. Probably a really beloved game, which is Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger's amazing.
So I know you want to talk about Chrono Trigger. Did you play it on the DS, or did you play it other ways?
On the DS. I know I was playing the SNES ROM of it.
So tell us why you like Chrono Trigger so much, and why other people should play Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger's like one of the good fun, like some Final Fantasy games, like the good era Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. PS.
They were all.
Yeah.
It's like that. You've got engaging story, wonderful characters, good music, great gameplay, and one of the main characters is a big frog.
So you like it because it has a frog in it?
That's a good reason to play games. A lot of cutesy. It's like, yes, there is a frog in this game.
Mm-hmm. So there was a DS release of Chrono Trigger that is, I believe, has some added content, and it actually, I think, there's a bit that crosses it, or because there's a spiritual successor. I'm trying to remember the name of the spiritual successor. Chrono Cross. Did you play that one as well, or did you never play it?
No.
That's actually come out recently over here. But I think there's an added ending that like links the two of them together better. Even though I think it was always that it was linked. But yeah, there was a the game was released. It's really hard to find now. One of them DS games. I never see it anywhere. Anytime it like just casually in CEX. I think I occasionally see it like at Comic-Con on those stalls, those video game stalls.
Where it's like £100 a game.
Yeah, hundreds of pounds a game. I mean, Those guys probably have to do a lot of sourcing, so it is understandable. I have not come across it in all my years of hunting. I do come across a lot of DS games. I have found some rare games. I found that Phoenix Miles Edgeworth spin-off game twice. The second time someone was already buying it, but I would like to add out I have found it twice. In the first time I was the one who bought it. So it does show you rare DS games do just randomly show up. It's like, this is the era of rare DS games showing up at like car boots for cheap prices. So yeah.
I mean, with the DS, it was like
yeah,
zero region, so you can easily like import Japanese and American games very easily.
Did you ever?
Which we probably what Rob did in the end, because I think he got me an import copy.
Yeah, I imported Jump Ultimate Stars for the DS. It was such a good game. Like, it's the best Shonen Jump game ever. It's like a Shonen Jump fighting game. So that's another thing that had Dragon Ball in it. It had Dr. Slump in it as well. Sadly, Dr. Slump has never had any sort of official UK release. It may have had. I think the manga has come out of Dr. Slump. That's it.
The manga's come out, but not the anime over here.
The only time I remember Dr. Slump kind of having any sort of presence was the first ever Hyper Japan. Toei Animation had a room where they were showing stuff, and I remember them showing the first episode of the Dr. Slump reboot, and that was it. That's all I ever remember, like them ever showing.
I think it was on the Uniqlo platform as well.
Yeah, and I was about to say it may have got a T-shirt of Uniqlo at some point. So unfortunately, Dr. Slump is not like some like, oh, Fox Kids showed it at like 3 a.m. on September 31st, 1999, and only one person saw it. That never happened. That unfortunately never happened. That was Shin-chan. That was the show. That was the freaking anime that like they showed that no one ever seems to remember. Oh, and Flint the Time Detective. I should have put that earlier. Flint the Time Detective. That was a. Do you remember Flint the Time Detective?
No.
Damn. That actually got shown on Cartoon Network, so that actually did get some airtime. So now Dragon Quest, I think, was slowly building a fan base. There was a new Dragon Quest game out. Do you realise what's time for what story it is for?
Yes.
Oh boy. This is fun because Rebecca has seen me tell this story, and lucky there was no cameras there.
I died laughing.
Everyone died laughing, and everybody enjoyed my torture. I'm gonna die
laughing again.
Yeah. I think it was the way that everybody was slowly mocking me on this story. Okay, so let's go to that. So Dragon Quest 9 was coming out for the DS. Before I played Dragon Quest 9, I didn't play a lot of it. It was a good time. This is the one where you create your own character. And so this is way back in the day. I know we've already been to a few events this year, and events are a lot more like to promoting video games and promoting anime. Normally these days, the only people who would like any video games that would get events were stuff like a new mainline Final Fantasy, a Mario game, something big from Nintendo. But Nintendo decided
Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon. So I'm going to just quickly use an example. I think about a year before this, or a year or two before this, the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl UK release. Guess who the special guests were?
Don't know.
You would never guess. The launch party for Pokemon Diamond and Pearl featured as its special guests, and today would normally be like someone who created the game, someone actually had something to do with the game. No, it was Matt Fly.
Well, yeah, it's that sort of time.
It was that sort of time where they were like, oh, Pokemon, oh, girls probably like Pokemon, oh, McFly. So yeah, there's probably some random signed copies of Pokemon signed by the UK band McFly, which is funny because I actually once found a signed McFly CD in a charity shop and brought it for my sister as a joke. So it shows you how little people thought about McFly's autograph. So I guess that event must have been a roaring success. So they decided to host a Dragon Quest Village. Now, at the time, I don't think Nintendo quite knew how to promote Dragon Quest. And I remember the first advertisement campaign, it being an older woman playing the DS, sort of thinking it like, hey, if you like books, you'll like Dragon Quest. It's like older women like Dragon Quest. And I don't think that went really well. So I think they must have got another marketing campaign. And I think they went, you can customize it. Who likes customizing things? Girls, like, let's find a band or a group or something or a duo that girls like. And like McFly must have not been available anymore. They must have looked in every single dustbin they looked. And they picked the boy band Jedward.
So that's timely, isn't it?
It was the style of the time. Okay, quick history lesson, children, on the band Jedward. They were on the X Factor, weren't they?
Yes, a pair of 5 quids are on the X Factor.
And
everyone either hates them or love to hate them or just unironically love them.
Yeah.
Wasn't he loved camp?
Okay. So there were these sort of 2 young Irish guys, and I mean they're funny. I have read some of their stuff on Twitter. They are funny some of the time, but they can also come across as really, 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 really annoying. And as Rebecca has put it well, you either love them or hate them. And so they'd announced this Dragon Quest Village, and then they announced, oh hey, Jedward's coming. So I was like, hey ho, let's go to like, when is this RPG series gonna ever get an event like this again? So I went to London, and I think it was in where was it? Trying to remember. It was somewhere. Covent Garden. So that's an expensive place to rent space.
Yeah. That's where all the bougie shops are.
I will admit, it looked really nice. If you just come along, looked at the event, they made a little village. There was a guy cosplaying the angel guy from the game, and he was 1-to-1 the costume. Really, really well made. Really, really good. So I got in line, and you're looking around, and the line is mostly girls, and then occasionally you sort of get that sort of like, I think I was in my 20s at the time, sort of that geeky, as my mum would say, probably looks like he's an extra in the Big Bang Theory type guy. And you had sort of all these young girls, and they're like, oh my god, Jedward. And I'm sort of talking, so you playing Dragon Quest? They're like, no, I'm not playing Dragon Quest. Like, but Jedward's promoting Dragon Quest. And they're kind of like, I don't have a TS. It's not really my sort of thing. I'm just here to see my beloved Jedward. So you got all these like really sort of young teen girl fans, and they let us in, and all the teen fan girls sort of go to hunt on the stage because they know Jedward's going to be on it. So I was like going around. I think you could get, you went, the part of the feature of Dragon Quest 9 is that you can get, it was like an early version of Street Pass. If you found someone who had the game, you could get their character, and they would stay in the hotel. So imagine there was like probably about 20 like geeky guys trying to play Dragon Quest. Well, the rest of the freaking event was like these screaming girls like going mad, trying to get the best position to get Jedward. And then things are worse when Jedward come on stage, and they're all like, hi guys, we're Jedward, we're dressed like our characters from that game that we're here supposed to promote. And you can see these girls, they do not give 2 damns about Dragon Quest. And it's just like, what is going on here? I have never seen such a misfire for events. And it was like, I felt sorry for the people in the tent, like doing all the gear. Nobody wanted to play the game. Everybody was there to see Jedward. Like, they were like throwing out free Dragon Quest stuff. But I was like, I'm not going out there, yeah?
You ever thought about getting therapy for that?
I should probably get therapy for this experience. So I'll be like, therapist goes, so tell me about the Jedward event. And I'll be like, oh. They were screaming, and then Jedward came on stage, and they weren't much better. And what else happened? And yeah, they started like having these really nice looking Dragon Quest plushes. And you know, they're like throwing them in. But I'm not going out there. I'd freaking get murdered if I went out there and tried to grab one of those Dragon Quest plushes. So now these like really epic looking Dragon Quest plushes are getting grabbed by girls who probably don't even know what a Dragon Quest is game. I mean, I asked one of them, I said, have you ever played a Dragon Quest? And they were like what's it? Yeah?
Your anger is showing.
And this happened before. I remember it. They were like, so Tim, did you play Dragon Quest with Jedward? Did you get their characters in the game? I was like,
they would knock our asses off it then.
And it was just, and then I remember coming back later, I don't know why, and no one was there. Everybody had left. It was like empty. There was just like 10 geeky guys in like the little tent playing Dragon Quests. And I think like maybe the odd person coming around to take photos, because it was a really nice like little set. And it was like, oh, this is such a shame that literally everybody is here just for Jedward, not because of this like awesome video game. Like, it was almost like anybody who would have come because of like Dragon Quest were like, I'm not going because it's just going to be full of like Jedward fangirls. And you know, I can't deal with that. And it was interesting because I think about 6 months later they did the Pokemon Black and White launch, and then that's when they got like the like main Pokemon designer of the time, and I think like the main director at the time, and that was a really good event. And like that, it was just all, and loads of people showed up. I mean, it's nuts now. If they did something like that like today, like everybody will be like camping overnight. But it was kind of nice that like Nintendo learned their lesson and were like, yeah, we're going to do an event like this. Even though I think they used One Direction to promote Black and White, they actually, when they did the event, they actually put you know, the actual game, they brought the actual game creators, because they're like, hey, the people who probably wants to play and you know buy Pokemon will actually buy it. So yeah, that was kind of a total failure. I do not think Dragon Quest IX sold well because of the whole Jedward thing. I think it probably put more people off than helps. It's weird because I think they used Steph Green to sell it in America, who is way more like of a suitable for its fan base. Like stuff like Robot Chicken, way more suitable than Jedward over here. So yeah, I thought I'd just get that traumatic story from my youth out of the way. And I guess we can now return to Dragon Ball in our story of Akira Toriyama's work in this country. So, of course, the manga had been fully published now. And for years, it went on. We were asking, when's Dragon Ball coming out on DVD? Come out on DVD in America? Did not come out on DVD here. All that was released, I think, was some of the movies with the infamous Big Green dub. And one Comic-Con, I remember there being something in like the comic book, and it was that Dragon Ball was coming out in the UK, and everyone got really happy, and then just it went silent. The release date went past, no more news. I mean, it's about 2012. So yeah, Manga Entertainment got the rights to Dragon Ball Z.
Manga Entertainment.
They were like they were Funimation, then Crunchyroll. I don't know what they'll be next. So that's pretty much Crunchyroll today. Well, Crunchyroll UK is today. So they released Dragon Ball Z on DVD, Dragon Ball GT. Also, I believe at this time the kids channel Kidx or Kix got the rights to Dragon Ball Kai. So Dragon Ball returns to UK TV through Kai. So this was like a newer cable channel at the time. So yeah, it was good. So now Dragon Ball was now available yet again. They released Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Original in that order. It was pretty much just an English version of a UK cut version of the American one. I think later on they released them in Blu-ray. I remember at one point they released them as single volumes, so you could like just get 4 episodes on a DVD. I don't know how that actually lasts long for, but yeah, it was really successful. I think it was one of Manga Entertainment's all-time highest sellers because everybody wanted it. I remember at the time everyone going nuts when they first started coming out, and this I think led to them getting stuff like One Piece finally getting like a full release over here. So yeah, that was good because Naruto was like the first anime like that, also done through manga, that got a release like this. So it was good. And now this is the weird thing. So now we did get Dragon Ball Evolution over here. Don't think anyone went to go and see it in the cinema.
Probably you.
I didn't go. Do you want to know how I saw Dragon Ball Evolution? This shows you how different times were then.
Plane?
No, I saw Dragon Ball Evolution the day after it came out in Japan, which I think was 2 weeks before it came out over here, on YouTube.
Shit.
It literally was, I think, about a 7 video like thing. I watched it. It was not the best quality, but I could tell you that movie was not very good. So that was my experience of watching it. I watched it and I remember being like, going to uni and being like, hey guys, I saw the new Dragon Ball movie. And everyone like gathering around going, tell us, Tim, is it any good? I'm like, no, it is not good. It's bad. And so then we come to, of course, the newer Dragon Ball movies. Battle of the Gods. I was actually in Japan when that came out. KFC were doing a promotion with it. I remember like...
yeah, I remember you posted picture Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Cup.
I, like, the first night I think I was in Japan, I went to the KFC and they were like, hey, we're doing this, like, Dragon Ball promotion. Like, do you want, like, I think you paid extra, you got, like, a random cup. And there was like, oh, and it's a super special Goku, like, Super Saiyan that has, like, the Super Saiyan hair on it. And you could potentially get it. And I remember like opening up the first one and it was like Quillen, and the second one I was like, oh my god, it's like the Super. And then the woman just out of nowhere, like at the till, she just pulled out like the promotional poster. Like she must have just liked the look of me and seen that I had come from a long way. And she was just like, hey, look, it's the poster we put up outside to promote like our promotion. Would you like it? I was like, yeah. So this is like my first ever night in Japan ever. And I'm just like, damn, this is like how generous Japan is. Like they literally were giving me the promotional poster that's normally only meant to be like outside the store for free because they're like, hey, we like the look of you, kid. You seem nice. So we're giving you the poster.
For free.
For free. So I was actually considering going to see it in the cinema over there because I was like, oh, when's the chance you're ever going to get to see anime in the cinema? That's never going to happen here in the UK. And unfortunately got an American release, but never got a UK release. And then the second one came out, Resurrection of Frieza, or Resurrection F. And that actually got a UK release in the cinemas, which was great. Now this is the days where it would be in cinemas like in London, but it would not be at your local cinema. So I remember going to the Picture House Theatre in central London, where I saw Arrietty. That was like another one like, I mean I saw most of my Studio Ghibli movies at that theatre. That was the one theatre that would show Ghibli movies for a while. So they had Dragon Ball. And I remember being like, wow, this is so cool. They're actually releasing something that's not a Studio Ghibli movie. And yeah, the next two movies both got a wide cinema release, to the point the most recent one I actually watched in my local cinema.
That weird CGI one.
Yeah, I actually like the CGI one. I can understand why other people don't. I do think Slam Dunk the First uses the CG a lot better than the Dragon Ball movie, but I do have respect for it. I can see what it was trying to do, and I feel like that movie kind of warped while Slam Dunk the First could run, which is funny because there's a lot of running in Slam Dunk the First.
Basketball.
Yeah, so I mean, not all the CG in Slam Dunk the First is perfect, but it's like you can see they practice, and there are scenes in Slam Dunk the First where it really does work well. I think with CG and anime, it's a workout. Yeah, it's stuff like Trigun Stampede is like showing you that you can do it really well if you're willing to work at it.
And you've got dodgy stuff like the first few seasons of Love Live.
Yeah, I understand why it's used. Like, there's a lot of actions in them scenes and sports and dancing. It's hard to animate that sort of thing, so it's a necessary evil, but it is nicer that they are getting better and better and able to. It's like Love Life is the perfect example. Watch the start of Love Life is almost you can play. Oh look, there's a 3D model. Then you get the sunshine. You're like, okay, it's a lot harder to tell. They put some texture in on the 3D models. They blend in a lot better now. And then you just got Berserk 2016 where just nobody tried.
You need to get some therapy for that.
I'm so we've gone through this Jedward thing. What other things were in anime like Berserk 2016? It's the one. It's like the one. So I think we are pretty much up to and that's where I guess Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest, and Chrono Trigger, Dr. Slump's history here in the UK has ended. It shows you that.
Well, now we have now you can get your Dragon Ball Z toys in Tesco's. And Tandan's coming out at some point. Which is another Toriyama work.
Yes, I was just thinking about that earlier on. May have remembered that I went to the big licensing show. They had they actually had the mascot imported over. So I'm really hoping the good people at Bandai are hoping to have a really good release of the Sandland movie. Because I do know he was working on the new Dragon Ball anime, but this was his last release where he was still with us. So hopefully that will get a really epic release, hopefully in the cinema, so we can all enjoy the last release that he was around for and fully saw through, come out in UK cinemas, and everybody should go and see it just to be like, remember how important akira was to the anime industry. And I think this just showed today that like his works were really important over here in the UK in a time where anime wasn't doing so well in the UK. I think Dragon Ball kick-started the whole Toonami Cartoon Network having anime. I know it did end kind of in disaster and Parker Lewis fucked it all up for all of us, but
yeah, it's like you can get like Dragon Ball Z pencil cases and like Woolies and W.H. Smith.
And
we know people at school to show.
And
not Parker Lewis. Parker Lewis goes kick rocks.
Yeah, and also I've got the one last thing. Dragon Ball Super is now on BBC iPlayer, so it shows you can even get it on the good old BBC.
And the Dragon Quest anime too.
Yeah, so they love akira there. I'm surprised they've not done more to be like, hey guys, like watch these two great shows on our like streaming service. So yeah, it shows you there. It said the Dragon Quest anime came out dubbed over here before it came out in America, just like the new Pokemon anime. It's just weird that Netflix are just sitting on the dub for no reason. But yeah, so it shows you that his shows went from being shown at an anime convention in French because that was the only copy they could get, to today where you can practically get it on our main network through its iPlayer.
And buy merchandise at Tesco's.
Yeah, and Primark has 1 million pieces of Dragon Ball. It has inspired us, and I still think is a very, very important anime here in the UK.
And it's now Crunchyroll thing.
And yes, that's the last thing. And for the first time ever, you can watch the entirety of Dragon Ball on Crunchyroll, start to finish, fully dubbed. So that starts with all the way from the original all the way up to Super. So that's splendid. So it shows you come on guys, let's all just have a big Dragon Ball marathon. I know someone's actually doing a 30-hour Dragon Ball marathon. And when you say, oh, that sounds epic, he's doing all the episodes that are non-canon.
And all the movies.
Of course he's doing Dragon Ball
live
movies,
action.
including the live action ones. That's going to be an interesting one. I think I'm going to pop in and see how he's going to be doing that one. Raggedy Man, best of luck to you on that one. Right. shall we talk about what we got up to this weekend?
I don't know, you?
There was like a little anime convention called Minamicon on.
Yeah.
It was like the longest running UK anime convention, like in Europe. And it was its 30th year and 29th edition. We don't talk about the pandemic here. Even though it actually did run before the pandemic, it was the year after that. By the time it come back round, they're like, yeah, we're not whisking it. So Minamicon was this weekend, and we were both there. Did you have a good time, Rebecca?
Yeah, good time.
Yeah, I had a good time as well. We were both hosting panels. I've uploaded 2 of the panels. Unfortunately, the third one we did not film because we were worried about some of the copyright in it. So unfortunately, we could not.
And it was terrible. Not really.
Were you at my? I try to remember. Were you at my?
I was on TV, but not Lost Media. But I did watch on Lost Media on YouTube earlier.
Oh, splendid! Did you enjoy the Lost Media one?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, Minamicon I think is probably both our favourite UK anime convention.
One of them.
One of them. Okay. We don't want to pick favourites because Daddy Baker's going to come after us.
Daddy Baker and Charlie will come on.
Yeah, I just realised that. Like, I think both of them sometimes watch this. So Daddy Baker definitely has. Daddy Baker has talked to me.
We love you, Daddy Baker.
We do actually love you, Daddy.
2 weeks time.
But he's too blue still. He's too blue. But yeah, we had a really lovely time. We got to do a lot of cool stuff. There was so much good cosplay.
Yes.
The masquerade, I'd say, for the last 2 years, there's not been many entries. I think we just had over 20-ish entries. But this year, it was like the masquerade was back in full force. Now things have like fully got back to normal. And my God, there was some absolutely amazing cosplay. I was lucky enough to be sort of in the filming area. And seeing them cosplays, I mean, you got everything from absolutely breathtaking cosplays to some really fun takes on costumes. I did love that gnome cosplay, I must say that did totally make me chuckle.
Gravity Falls was quite a good show.
Yeah. I've only ever seen the one where he falls in love with the Miku type character. It was a good episode, it's just I haven't got around to watching more. But yeah, it was one of them cons that it was just like really, really nice, and getting to see so many people, and yeah, getting a panel get really, really, really well received. I did a portion on the Lost Media Minamicon where I got to show off. I'd been doing a Lost Media hunt for like 3 years, and I finally got to show off my results. And I was worried there was going to be one of them things that nobody would care and be like, I just like mass exit from my panel. But people did shit, and it was funny. It got to the point where a lot of the older guys were starting to be like, do you remember the time like Ashram broke the floor? And I had to sit there and I had to be a bit like, guys, just saying this, that I wasn't there. And they were like, why weren't you there? And I was like, well, I was a school child. I was a primary school child. I don't think they would have let a primary school child go to an anime convention.
Well, some cons would, but
yeah.
We don't talk about it.
Oh, God. Well,
I'm not a con anyway.
We're making our digs at Anime League. It's like our tradition now. But yeah, we had a really nice time. We played a lot of the lottery. Opening ceremony.
Yeah, I think me, Tim, and a couple of other people were having like a 4-way tie of getting some plushes.
Yeah, we're just all trying to win this damn Gojo plush. And I did it in the end. Spoiler for the vlog. I did it. Did Gojo get home safe? Oh, let's see the Gojo plus. There he is. Yay! I probably spent too much money winning you. But it was damn fun. So that was really, really fun. I had a really nice time. I got to spend the convention with a load of really cool people. It was really nice catching up with people. But you know, there were people that unfortunately I couldn't quite catch up with but they were also busy at the same time. It was one of them sort of the perfect cocktail of people being busy, me being busy, and yeah, no, but it was really fun. It was a really fun time.
It got a bit wild at times.
I heard about some of the wild stuff. We won't talk about it on camera, but I did hear some of the stuff that did happen that I was not around for, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of glad I wasn't around for that. We entered loads of quizzes. Actually, no, did I? I only did.
I only went to Quiz Smash.
Oh, shall we tell the Quiz Smash story? The Quiz Smash story was funny.
Yes.
So, me and Chris Homer have a rivalry in Quiz Smash. So Quiz Smash is the game. You have your mobile phone and you play it on the internet. So it's like everybody. It's a single player quiz, which I think is a really good idea for Minamicon because everything else is like team quizzes. So it is actually kind of like the big race at the end where everybody just goes up, you know, it's every man for themselves. And I was doing well. I got so we got to the second to last question and I was in second place.
Not that second place.
I was in second place. And then the last question came in, and I was like, I've seen the anime, but I've not seen it in so long. It was XL Saga. It was, what is the name of the organisation? And I was just like, I've not watched that anime in so long. Why? Why was it be an anime? Like, I know. So I had to guess the answer, and unfortunately, I didn't get the answer right. So I slipped all the way down to 7th place. Why, someone over here who had unfortunately lost all her early points because there was a phone glitch managed to come 4th. So she managed to beat me without technically playing the first round because she lost all her points from the first round. She came 4th overall, and I think you'd have finished in the top 3 if you hadn't lost your points.
Yeah, well, I think I might have won.
Yeah, I think you may have won. You may have come second, but I think it was more funny at that point that it's like I literally let you have a whole round head start, and I still managed to beat you. But I managed to beat Christopher Homer, so I was extremely happy. I was like, yeah, beat you,
well,
Christopher.
Well, the best bit was, Tim.
Yeah.
I beat you.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I beat you, Christopher Homer. Because there was one year where he came back and beat everybody, like, right at the end. Like, I didn't even know he was in the room. He was, like, at the back of the room, and he was, like just in the last round, it's like his name appears at the top of, I'm like, wait, Chris Homer's? And he's at the back of the room, like, hey. And I was like, ever since we've had a rivalry, and I think it was that last one we did together, he just overtook me at the end again. So it was quite close through the entire thing. But I think he finished 11th. But he was in there's like guests who are playing. He was part of the guest game, so he actually won the guest game. So he got a trophy at the end. So in a way, I think the lesson is that even though Tim did beat him, he lost.
Yeah.
And Rebecca beat me.
He got a trophy. You did not.
Yeah, he got the trophy. So Christopher Homer technically was the winner in the end, even though he wasn't. But it was a bit of fun. It was a bit of a laugh. Like, it wasn't anything. I think it was like, I think it was just so funny that it was like, oh, you won, but you lost to Rebecca.
Yeah.
You get nothing.
Well, rematch at Cockroach?
Yeah, I think we're going to rematch that at Cockroach. I don't think Chris is going to be there, unfortunately. So it's going to be the Tim Rebecca derby. So
yeah,
should be a good fun time. Yeah, it should be a fun time. I'm really looking forward to CockroachCon now. I had a lovely time at Minamicon, but I was so busy. Like yesterday, I had such a headache when I came home.
Yeah, it's like I ended up working from home yesterday because like I was just like I can't be. I'm tired. It's like I actually conked out.
Yeah, so that what I was like, yeah, it was a really lovely time. We did some good songs at karaoke, even though I think we annoyed everybody with the One Piece rap.
You annoyed Chris One Piece rap?
Yeah, that was our revenge at Chris. Going, ha, you get a trophy, we're going to sing the One Piece rap. So yeah, I got to do another duet with Chris Chan. I got to do another duet with Jess. So that was really nice. Yeah, no, it was nice to sing some songs. I did do a few new songs this year, but I mostly did songs I had previously. Then the One Piece rap was new. I don't think we've ever done the One Piece rap before, so
No.
that was good. So it was some old favourites and some new songs. So yeah, it was really nice. I just got to chat to so many people. I've been put in contact with a few people. One of them very interesting. I haven't fully talked to them yet, so I can't go into too much detail. But some quite interesting stuff could come from it if they are willing to play ball. But I can't really say much more about it now. Of course, we got lots of exciting things to come. And it said normally
You're busy, aren't you?
I know. I like every week. I got an event for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
I got the Gundam event next week, MegaCon, and then KokoroCon the week afterwards. So it's like my life is exhausting. And of course we've got the Spy Family movie coming out next month.
Yeah.
You looking forward to that?
Yep.
Yeah, that should be a good time. So we got the new anime season will be starting soon. So we may pick a few animes that we are looking forward to. Anything else you want to add about Minamicon?
We freed Charlie Chalk at last.
Free Charlie Chalk. Yeah, I didn't get to sing Charlie Chalk again. I let someone else sing Charlie Chalk this year.
Someone else.
Someone really else. I let them. I was like, you can sing Charlie Chalk this year. I had my year.
Charlie Chalk is free.
I think that should be a fair tradition that a different person gets to sing Charlie Chalk every year. I was a bit like that. I was like, yeah, don't let me. I did like at the end when they put "Fly Me to the Moon" on, and I think I got a video of it up on the Facebook of us all swinging together and the whole room singing together and being like, this is not on the DVD release, but hey, you can get it here. You get it here at Minamicon. There was so much good stuff in the bring and buy as well. Oh, I got this like vintage garage kit Ray, or two of them, that I think was painted by one of the guys who did a load of the art for Minamicon, like the vintage art for Minamicon. So that was like all the go for was like, protect this with your life. This is like a one-on-one like thing. Because I remember that happening once. They gave something to someone and they shoved it in their bag, and all the gophers were like getting really, really angry at them. I was like, I seen what's happened before, and I hold them like, these are my children now. I will take care of them and make sure they make it to my house safe. And I like made
sure it to your house safe?
They did. They're now out of there. Then they were safely taken out of their boxes and now sit on display with the rest of my Ray figurine collection, which includes this one, which is falling apart, which I think I bought for about 100 yen in Denden Town, because Denden Town cheap, and I was like, that's cheap, I'm buying that. And yeah, so that was at Minamicon. It was a good time. I'm still tired.
I'm a bit nervous about Minamicon, but it ends up being good.
Yeah, I think you had a really good time. You looked like you had a really good time when we did some really cool stuff. So yeah. So it looks like this episode is a bit of a shorter one, but that is because we're both tired.
Yeah, we're both tired and needy pig.
Yeah, but hopefully our next episode will be a bit longer. Hopefully we'll be talking about some of the anime we're looking forward to next season.
Maybe KokoroCon?
Yeah, maybe have a little preview of KokoroCon.
Or after KokoroCon, knowing what you're like.
Yeah, I'm going to try and get an episode out next week.
No, you won't.
No, I said it, I'm going to do it just to spite you.
No, you're not.
Well, anyway, hopefully with a bit of luck, we'll be good and we'll actually have a second episode out next week. No, me not. But until...
Yeah, we're meant to have an episode for AnimeCon, but that didn't happen.
I'm sorry, I fucked that up. But
I'm going to have to time keep you now.
Yeah, you can time keep me. You can bugger me. Go, Tim, make episode.
Not that way.
Yeah, I know. But it's been a good time. So don't forget that we're on Instagram at AnimeUK0. We're on Twitter or X or what the fuck they want to call it at AnimeUK. And if you have enjoyed, please smash that subscribe button. We do have some more Minamicon videos coming. Do you have a good time, Rebecca?
Yep.
Okay. So hopefully see you again soon next week. Hopefully. Until next time, bye.